Insane drama on paternity court.
That's a babysitter. She don't need a babysitter. I'm sorry.
You know what?
I apologize.
It's obvious. But I'm gonna tell you now one more time or you will have your disrespectful self out on the curb. Stop cursing in this courtroom.
No, I didn't.
Fascinating testimony, Miss Day. We've been waiting all day for this.
No, I think people are getting confused of what I'm trying to say.
I'm gonna let that testimony speak for itself.
You know why? Because you have another child with her, so you're not gonna clown in here because that's acting a fool and that's what I don't do.
Miss Phillips here has confessed to having a threesome and hooking up with the defendant's friend. Yeah, I know it sounds like a shocker, but still, the mommy was standing, blaming the defendant for having doubts and neglecting her daughter.
I had to pay him to come over to babysit his daughter. I don't even pay her babysitter since he's been gone for the last month. I try to give my friend money. What do I do for her? I go to work every day, buy
what
her
do you do
diapers,
with your paycheck?
I buy her food, I pay the bills in my house. You don't do nothing.
Let's get some order in the courtroom. And FYI, this is just the beginning of the drama, because now it's time to air the dirty laundry. Turns out, this wasn't the first time that the plaintiff has stepped out on her man, as she has a whole list of her lucky suitors.
All the men in the world, you want to go out and do your thing.
What I'm saying is I'm
wouldn't
trying
that
to
be
change.
what I just said? 18 names listed, quite a list.
Out of those 18, 2 to 3 of them are my friends that she slept with.
However, the mommy claimed that the diary part was just a big misunderstanding, that she was just keeping track of her past dealings, and that she was not the same person anymore. Plus, this trial wasn't about Miss Phillips, but rather about young Brooklyn, which brought us to the conception calendar.
In green, you slept with a guy and another girl.
Yes.
So that was unprotected sex on the 12th.
That's the second
Yes.
threesome.
In blue, the 17th and the 21st are dates you slept with.
His friend.
Both of my friends, not just
No,
one.
the first guy is not his friend. That was my friend's friend, and he's trying to claim him as a friend.
Okay, this doesn't look pretty. Miss Phillips, however, the plaintiff, refused to take all of the blame. In her defense, the alleged father was the one who pushed her into the arms of other men with his insecure behavior.
He's a liar. He lied to me about his age when we first got together. He lied about cheating on me. When I was 3 months pregnant, I let him know that. And then he blew up on me in a gas station, parking lot, telling me, go be with this guy, go give him oral sex,
Your Honor.
go. And I just basically told him my kid doesn't need a dad.
Man, this is getting harder with every passing second. Both of the parents had a very odd dynamic, and the person suffering the most was the baby girl. While they were busy neglecting their child and cutting each other no slack, Judge Lake pointed this out.
You've got to take responsibility for the fact that he may not fully believe he is the child's
My
father.
daughter's a year old. I told him before she was even here.
My point is, if he has doubts, that may affect the way he is present in this child's life, right or wrong.
However, the odd part was that though Mr. Maltese knew about Miss Phillips's raw deal, he still signed the birth certificate and claimed paternity. But why the sudden change of heart? Why make a sport of an innocent child?
He tells me.
Hey.
He tells me when
Respect in this courtroom.
She don't need a babysitter.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. I
You know
apologize,
what?
Your Honor.
You know what?
I apologize.
It's obvious. But I'm gonna tell you now one more time or you will have your disrespectful self out on the curb. Stop cursing in this courtroom.
After this, Miss Natalie confronts Mr. Maltese, requesting he keep their child overnight due to her night shifts. Maltese accuses Natalie of irresponsible behavior, alleging she misled him about their relationship. The paternity of their child is in question, and Maltese claims Natalie uses him for childcare.
I work nights. I cannot go get her on the bus and take her home on the bus late at night. I don't care, Natalie. Come get your kid. I don't want this kid in my house. He left voicemails.
Did you say
on
that?
He left voicemails on my phone of my daughter crying, Dad. Like, what am I gonna think as a mother that's happening to my child?
Did that happen, Mr. Maltese?
Yes, it has, Your Honor.
This broken couple had their peepers locked onto that DNA scoop. No room for mercy. It's like when respect jumps ship, only the hardcore truth keeps peeps connected. Ain't no sugarcoating. It's time to get real.
Mr. Maltese, you are her father.
That's all I wanted to know.
A month of her life wasted. You better make it up.
You're the one that kept it from me.
What do you have to say, Mr. Maltese?
I'm very happy to know that she's my daughter.
No more babysitting. You better be a dad.
The reason why I doubted her is because she had threesomes with multiple guys.
The courtroom was about to become a battleground of truth and parenthood. Strap in, folks, because this ain't your regular episode. Mr. Harrington claimed the defendant was pinning a baby on him. Yup, he was singing that song, but the case was just getting started.
Eleni is not my child. This is the reason though, because there's other contenders and she's a promiscuous person. She like to be, you know what I'm saying, she a party person. So she do whatever she feel like she wanna do, and she knows I'm a good father to the child I already got with her. You know, I'm a good person and I take care of my responsibilities.
So the potential baby daddy dropped truth bombs, accusing the mama of playing pin the baby on the good dad game. Meanwhile, she was standing firm, claiming divine maternity. Oh, you won't believe what she testified to.
He is not the father of my child. I am the Virgin Mary. There's no other possibilities. I have not been messing around with anybody else throughout the time that we were messing around.
Well,
So you are 100% positive Mr. Harrington is your child's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
Who knew an MRI appointment would turn into getting the news of a lifetime? Well, that happened to our dear Miss Day. Oh, the glamour. However, baby daddy soon jumped into evidence of why he was not the guy the woman was looking for. Oh, it was one heck of a text chain.
A text comes through to your phone and it says,
Baby mama.
how your baby mama pregnant and her and your sister hiding it from you? It might be guy number 1 baby though. You write back, who is this? So you just an anonymous tipper, huh?
Yeah.
Yup, can't tell you who I am. She won't tell me nothing else.
So, text messages from an anonymous tipper, missed cycles, and a sprinkle of denial. That was what created this paternity chaos, and it was brimming with some more as the baby daddy delved deeper into his doubts, taking us right along with him. Fun.
I didn't pick up the phone or
But you
something
never told
like
me
that.
you was pregnant though.
I did tell you I was pregnant.
You told. I found out in January.
I found out in January too. That's
No, you
when I
didn't.
went to go. Your Honor,
Lord have
I
mercy.
found out when I found out that I was pregnant.
So all
It
them missed
was
periods
in
and you
January.
all them missed periods and
when
you
I went
okay.
to go and do my MRI,
You got 2 other kids.
I was already 4 months pregnant.
Oh, something was amiss, and you can see the confidence with which Mommy started testifying slowly crumbling as all the skeletons in her closet come out to play. But first, let's sort out this Guy 1 and Guy 2 mystery.
You were pregnant, but you're saying there was no guy number 1 and guy number 2.
No, it wasn't. There
Lie
is
number 1, lie number 2.
a guy number 1 and a guy number 2, but not a guy number 1 and a guy number 2 potentially to be my child's father.
But you believe you were pregnant before you start talking to these guys.
I know I was pregnant before then.
Well, doubts were there, but Daddy still showed up at the hospital. Now, we gotta hear that story from the defendant's witness, because her version took the cake in this Who's the Daddy saga.
When he came to the hospital, he asked her not to be named Nelania. He wanted her to be named Naya.
They just trying to make
He don't
this
want to
point.
admit nothing because his girlfriend told him that if he's the father to this baby, that they would break up, and he don't want to go.
They broke up.
Moving on, the baby daddy comes up with an interesting chauffeur analogy to describe his fun times with Miss Day. But that's not just it. He came prepared with an exhibit. Buckle up, it was confusion conception time.
And November 10th. How are you gonna have a baby with
Do
me
you
in November?
realize?
In November, when I left in the middle of October.
And in the previous testimony, Ms. Day, you did admit that you weren't intimate with other guys until November because you were with him September, October.
Yes, ma'am. I wish that I had the messages because I went back to look at it.
Well, that was one heck of a calendar and its calculations. People certainly did their homework, and it was making sense. Mommy didn't vibe with that, so she laid into him.
Even when we calculate the weeks, there is never an opportunity, even for doctors,
Okay.
to understand this completely. Because the truth is, it is hard to calculate since you all were having sex 1 month and then the next month you're broken up, you've moved on. That's a window of time that leads us straight to this courtroom. This is what we do.
Well, looky here. Miss Day was all over the place. Oh, yeah. I bet she was regretting coming to court now, and her switching up her testimony in one last-ditch effort to save face backfired. Uh-oh.
I know that could be only one other person.
You don't know. You don't know.
No, I do.
Fascinating testimony, Ms. Day. We've been waiting
Your
all
Honor,
day for this.
No, I think people are getting confused of what I'm trying to say.
I'm gonna let that testimony speak for itself.
Now that all made this last part all the more interesting. Wouldn't you guys agree? Well, the results were in, and Judge Lake seemed about ready to deliver her final verdict on the mess these guys created. Let's find out who was the daddy.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Harrington, you are not the father.
What? Told you, bro.
Are you serious?
Told you. Can I Millie Rock?
No, no, you can't.
Sorry, my bad.
No, you can't. You know why?
This ain't
Because you
mine.
have another child with her, so you're not gonna clown in here.
Okay.
Because that's acting a fool, and that's what I don't do.
Miss Johnson is considering divorce because she feels her husband, Mr. Johnson, is making her choose between him and her 12-year-old son, Elijah. They have separated several times during their 7-year marriage. Mrs. Johnson wants the court to mandate family counseling for Mr. Johnson, hoping to save their relationship.
I just want my kids to feel equal. I want my oldest son
When you
to
say he
feel
shows
loved.
favoritism, explain to the court how.
Okay, for an example, I put my kids in baseball. He would participate in our son Ethan's, and he would never participate in Elijah's.
That's not
that
true at all.
photo right there was Elijah's birthday, and I took him to the go-kart.
However, Mr. Johnson felt that his wife, Mrs. Johnson, does not support his role as a father figure to her son Elijah. He believes that since he's been present in the boy's life from a young age, he should automatically receive respect from Elijah. Mrs. Johnson counters by emphasizing that Mr. Johnson should proactively assume a more involved fatherly role.
He doesn't take an extra step in, like, as far as going to the PTA meetings or.
Did I in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning, but things have changed, and
lot has changed.
you can't expect different results when you're not willing to
He
make a change.
undermines me at home.
He's
What is
12,
he going to do
you're
there?
33.
Exactly. Discipline your son.
Mrs. Johnson read a letter from her son, Elijah, expressing his distress over Mr. Johnson's behavior and his desire for them to separate. Mr. Johnson dismisses the sentiment, attributing it to Elijah's purported disrespect, seeking to understand the depth of the issue.
My son refuses to come home when me and Mr. Johnson are together. I have a letter from my son right here. I'll read it. All right. My name is Elijah. I'm 12 years old. I don't want my mom and Jason to be together anymore. I don't like Jason at all. I don't like being around him. I don't ever want to see him again. He hurts my feelings because he does stuff with my brother and don't want to do stuff with me.
Mr. Johnson expresses his frustration, stating that Elijah disrespects everyone, including him, his brother, and his mother. He emphasizes the constant arguments over simple tasks and the lack of discipline from Mrs. Johnson. When issues arise during her absence, he feels blamed for her return rather than the children being addressed.
He disrespects everybody. He disrespects his brother. He disrespects me, his mother. He talks back. She fights with him constantly over the simplest things. Clean your room. Listen, don't talk back. It's always an argument. Take the dog out. Feed the dog. Whatever it is, he cannot do it. He cannot be disciplined. She won't discipline him. And instead of disciplining him, she babies him.
Mr. Amolsh, Elijah's grandfather, testifies about the favoritism he has witnessed, noting that Elijah is often excluded. He gives examples of unequal treatment, like getting ice cream and how the children are spoken to. Mr. Johnson challenges Mr. Amolsh's perspective, pointing out potential bias given that he's Elijah's grandfather.
I see Elijah being left out on a lot of things. Father, son, the ice cream. You ask Ethan to pick up your room. It's like, would you pick up your room? What's wrong with you? Why aren't we here for the way you talk to Ethan? You know, talk to him like a human being, not like an animal that did something wrong.
Greg brought Mercedes to court because he wants to prove he's the father of her young kid, whereas Mercedes denies this claim. She says the child's father is someone else. Greg says she's doing this because she wants to be with the other man. Wait till you hear who the other man is and what their dynamic is like.
Well, Your Honor, I grew up in the streets of Detroit, no dad in my life, and I just want to make sure that my son doesn't have to grow up like I did. And
That's a beautiful basket there. You brought that for your son once you prove your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you grew up without your father?
Yes, ma'am.
So it goes something like this. Greg met Mercedes because he was dating her roommate. Mercedes was dating Greg's cousin, Maurice. One time, Maurice and Mercedes fought, and she and Greg had sex. Later on, they decided to bring Greg into the relationship to spice things up. Bonkers, right?
We decided to include Greg in our mix and try and spice things up.
Oh, so how often was that happening?
It happened
Off and on for like 10 years.
What?
It wasn't 10 years.
It happened like this, Your Honor. I've been knowing her 10 years.
So, was Mercedes cheating on Maurice with Greg this entire time? Not at all. One time, Maurice was at a hotel with another girl and Mercedes found out when she asked Greg to take her there. After confirming her suspicions, she decided to sleep with Greg, and wait till you hear about what happened next.
She used to call me and confide in me to like, after I hooked them up as friends and stuff, and they got it on, you know, when they have their little disputes or whatever, he be cheating and all that, she called me crying and stuff, and you know, I had to go over there and kind of help her cheer up and stuff, you know.
Mercedes texted Maurice telling him she was having sex with Greg. He replied that he was going to be there in 15 minutes, and that's when Greg ran away without even putting on his clothes. Mercedes says she believes Greg isn't Javier's father because they didn't even finish the act. The pair says this was the only time they had unprotected sex.
We was having intercourse. He ended up messaging me about 15 minutes later and said, I'm on my way.
Probably too late after that.
I looked at my phone, seen the message. Greg immediately jumped up. Didn't even finish, you know, we was interrupted. And he ran out the house. He ain't even have clothes on. He didn't finish.
So what happened when Maurice found out Mercedes was pregnant? She says he didn't doubt the paternity and was generally fine about it. Later on, he called Greg and told him the kids were actually his, and Maurice was taking care of them for no reason. Greg says Mercedes' first kid was also conceived within the threesome, but she denies it.
The times when both kids, you were having
three.
sex with Miss Saavedra either within the threesome or alone.
Yeah, yes, Your Honor, and I see.
Not with the first one, no. It was months
Your
prior.
Honor.
Months prior. It was not around that same time.
So now there's a question about Javier's paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
Greg says Mercedes is doing this because she wants both her kids to have the same father. However, neither man is on the birth certificates. He says he even called her, and she said there's a chance he could be the father. Mercedes keeps denying all this, while Maurice sends a statement saying he also believes the child is Greg's.
Last year, Mercedes and I got into it because she thought I was having sex with another woman, which I wasn't. In retaliation, she had sex with my cousin Greg with no rubber. Shortly after, she comes up pregnant. I found out that they had been having sex behind my back for years. Since the dirty mess has come to light, I don't think her son is mine. He looks like Greg.
Greg produced photos that show Javier resembling Greg and not Maurice. He even brought a basket with stuff a baby needs as a gesture of goodwill in case he is proven to be the father. He says he isn't worried about Mercedes being his cousin's girlfriend as he slept with her first. So, will the DNA test solve this mess?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Pitchford Kendricks, you are not the father. I can see that really disappointed you. You thought you were.
You know, I tried to step up to the plate because I ain't have a father.
Miserable as hell, 8 years, I'm tired of this. He needs to leave. I'm just wanting him to leave. And if he want to be a daddy to them kids, he can be a daddy to them kids outside of the house.
And that is not true
the
either.
house is tainted.
That ain't true either.
It's
You know why I
tainted.
can't be a father outside the house?
I have been in tears for the last 2 years trying to meet my daughter, and she has never let me once
When I
talk to
called-
her or see her.
When I talked to him and told him I was
create
pregnant.
a Facebook account just to see pictures of the lady.
All right, paternity peeps, strap in for this wild tale of love, despair, and downright tragedy. Miss Forrest bailed on Mr. Webb just when he was on life support in the hospital, and she jetted back to her hubby. Now he's storming into court, dead set on being the true baby daddy, flipping the script on Mr. Forrest.
He's in the bed on life support, and now you have reconciled with your husband.
Yes, Your Honor, but I tried to see him. His mother would not let me see him.
I'm sure there were some feelings because you had gotten back with your husband while he's fighting for his life.
I loved Mr. Webb at the time, but we were...
You loved him?
Well, I mean...
Well, Miss Forrest claims to the court that her daughter was born in May 2013. And when you go back 9 months, the conception window leads to August. Now, here's the twist. She admits to being intimate with both men during that time.
Now you here to tell me you know that your child is fathered by Mr. Forrest and you've got this close proximity?
Yes, Your Honor. She looks just like my husband. She takes after him.
But you do realize this difference in time, this is a part of the same window of conception. You do understand that, right, Ms. Forrest?
Yes, Your Honor.
To make matters worse, regardless of knowing the approximate dates, Ms. Forrest hasn't even allowed Mr. Webb to see the child even once in these 2 long years. And the reason she gives for doing so is just so bizarre.
I'm afraid that if he does get to see my daughter, that he can run off with her, and there's nothing I can do to get her back.
So you admit, Ms. Forrest, that you've been blocking Mr. Webb from seeing Elena?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, isn't that tragic? Mr. Webb was in tears. How cruel can someone be? Isn't that the opposite of what we usually witness in paternity court? Because normally, men don't want to do anything if they have doubts. However, our plaintiff was saying the opposite.
I have been in tears for the last 2 years trying to meet my daughter, and she has never let me once talk to her or see her.
When I talked to him and told him I was pregnant,
I have had to create a Facebook account just to see pictures of Elena.
Miss Forrest wasn't able to see the committed emotions of Mr. Webb. It almost felt like she was in denial, only because she wanted to save her relationship with her husband. But you know how Judge Lake's an expert in breaking the ice.
Miss Forrest, are you afraid he's gonna take your daughter, or are you afraid he's her biological father?
I'm afraid that he's gonna take my daughter.
He's trying to take our child.
He called me about 2 weekends ago. I was on my way to Arkansas, and he told me that if I don't let him see her, he's gonna take her to court, or take me to court, and he's gonna take her away from me.
Mr. Forrest, what an audacity! You weren't even sure! And above all, what you did to the man for almost 2 years? How about we bring this paternity triangle to a closure? So, here's the paternity queen reading the results.
It has been determined by this court that her biological father is Mr. Webb.
Well, now you know who's the real baby daddy, Miss Forrest. What's gonna be your game plan now? One thing was for certain though. Mr. Webb didn't just try pulling up in front of your house to kidnap the child, right?
Be clear, you did not just cheat him. You cheated her. You knew it could be a possibility.
And I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my husband and my family over this.
Well, this is my point. You're thinking about yourself.
That's all he thought about when we were together?
You're thinking about yourself.
The courtroom drama kicks off with Mr. Brown and Miss Lever. Picture this, an emotional dad pouring his heart out, passionately arguing that he's the real deal, the biological father of Jaira, the defendant's daughter. And get this, she's straight up denying it.
Miss Lever, I see how upset you are.
I would never deny him the right to see his kids, but he has to be done in decency and in order, and he is out of order completely.
The entire home life is out of order. And when we have chaos and disorder, children can't grow up healthy and happy.
According to the defendant, the claims of Mr. Brown have been nothing but bogus. She testifies to the back and forth nature of the plaintiff, one of the reasons for her denying the baby being his. But today, she's here to spill the beans.
During the time that Jaira was conceived, I was dealing with a family crisis. Also, my ex was also dealing with the same crisis. And so during that time, we bonded, we kind of rekindled things, and that's the time in which Jaira was conceived.
April 2011, you were dealing with a sick family member.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Lever told the court that she has been living in a nightmare where the plaintiff hasn't even been working to provide for the family, and above all, living in her house. So she had to go back to her ex to make ends meet.
So you all are still living together?
Because he won't leave.
Because I have children. I grew up without a father. I am not going to allow my children to grow up without a father.
I am miserable, Your Honor.
And I am as well.
He needs to leave. He needs to go.
But it hurts my children.
I am miserable as hell. 8 years. I'm tired of this.
But there might be another story that we've all been missing here. Here's another interesting revelation that Miss Lever might have created to stay away from the mess in her life. Just listen to what she has to say, yelling at the peak of her lungs.
He needs to leave. I'm drove crazy. I just want him to leave. And if he want to be a daddy to them kids, he can be a daddy to them kids outside of the house.
And that is
the
not true either.
house is tainted.
That ain't true either.
It's
you know why I
tainted.
can't be a father outside the house? Because I'll call her to talk to my children, she'll block my number.
Okay, so we understand what's happening here. Miss Lever got sick of Mr. Brown's inability to earn, so she planned on cheating with her ex just to create this paternity doubt. Additionally, knowing that the plaintiff wasn't doing anything for the family.
You know when she screams for me to leave, Your Honor? When I'm not working.
You ain't never working.
Your Honor.
So
when
who
I'm
works
not
in this
work-
family?
Nobody. She don't work. She ain't never worked.
I get state assistance.
At the end of the day,
No.
you are the man and
At
you
the
living in
end
my
of the
house
day-
and you need to work or leave.
At the end of
You
the
don't
day, Your
work.
Honor.
You don't provide nothing.
Your Honor.
I'm sorry, but I'm just tired of this.
Ugh, now isn't that just sad? All this hassle and creation of paternity doubt just for the sake of some money. But what about the mental health of the child, Miss Lever? Both parties must have to understand each other's needs. So before they can do that, how about we give them the closure first? Yep, DNA result time.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not the father. This is overwhelming.
Oh boy. So what Miss Lever mentioned earlier was indeed true. And she just had to go with another man because her own man wasn't man enough to take the responsibility for the family. And just look where we are now. Just tragic.
My daughter has a bond with him. She loves him. They love him. But this is just not healthy. The road is ended, and if he wants to still, Jara loves him.
I have invested my life, my heart, my soul into her kids.
I've invested into you too.
Isn't it cute if a father inks his daughter's name? Right. But what if another man other than your father does the same? Now, that's one modern plot for the paternity doubt. And Miss Andrews finds herself in a rather inked situation.
Your Honor, honestly, Mr. Glenn has not been in my life the entire years that I have been living. I was raised by the father. My biological father was in my life. I've never known a Mr. Glenn. I don't know him.
You never knew Mr. Glenn.
I knew of him.
Miss Andrews faced a tough situation when she got news that would change her life a lot. It was hard for her to believe the truth, and she felt stressed about it. Even though she didn't want to, she had good reasons to prove Mr. Glenn wrong.
When you say you knew of him, explain.
I knew that he was the father of my youngest sister. Supposedly we had different fathers, and it was never a question.
Miss Andrews was lucky to have a great dad, and she never wanted someone else to take his place. Her father had always been there for her, giving advice, help, and love without any conditions. That's how she describes their relationship.
I had a great relationship with my father. Although I did not live in the same household as he came around. He attended family reunions. He done things for me. He was even at my graduation, my high school graduation. He was at my college graduation as well.
After many years, she found out that he wasn't her biological dad. This shocking discovery made her question who she was and left her feeling confused and uncertain. Facing this truth was tough, but she knew she had to deal with it directly.
I was going to a restaurant to have something to eat, and I run into him. And he revealed to me that I was his daughter, and he showed me the tattoo on his leg. This is the time I'm still grieving over the loss of my father, who passed on my due date of my second child, and now I need answers.
It's not just you, Miss Andrews. We're all here to discover the answers. When questioned about why this was kept a secret, Mr. Glenn, the man with glasses, explained his reasons for making that decision. Here's what he had to say.
Me and her mother grew up together, raised up together, and we started dating in 76. And then I left for about 8 months. When I left and I came back, Donna was born. She was about 2-3 months old.
You were in a relationship with Ms. Andrews' mother.
Right.
The courtroom was shocked and confused when Miss Andrews' stepsister stood up to share her story. In a surprising twist, she made some shocking confessions that had everyone in the courtroom surprised. Oh, wow.
He had opportunity to be a father to her, even
So
when
your
she was like a
point is,
baby.
If he is the father of your younger sister, why not just say, I'm also the father
exactly.
of...
You know, he had opportunity. He said that she was raised in a good family. She was raised, her father's family was, and he is, Roger Andrews is her father.
The case about who is Miss Andrews' father was still happening, and Judge Lake understood that asking more questions might make things worse. So she decided to bring things to a close for both sides to make sure there's a clear record of who is and who isn't Miss Andrews' father.
You are her father. Oh my God. Oh, sis. Oh my God. Wrong for that. You're wrong for that. Shine, you could have done better. Oh my God.
It's decision time for Mr. Poyer, and the stakes are high. It's either stepping up to the plate or facing a hefty $5,000 hit. Miss Poyer isn't playing around. She's taken legal action against her son, Mr. Poyer, aiming to get back the cash he owes for overdue rent and utility bills.
My son, he's lazy. I feel that he's lazy. I'm your mother. I try to do the best that I can for you. You cannot just want to lay around, not want to do anything, not want to help me, take care of the household or help me pay any bills. You cannot talk to me like I'm one of your friends in the street.
Now, isn't that the sound of a mother who has been requesting her son to show her some respect? Your insensitivity towards your mother, Mr. Poyer, is just tragic. And above all, just look how he defends himself.
The way she speaks to me all the time is just really contradicting to that statement. Like, she talks down to me, she yells, she talks to me with sarcasm. You know what I'm saying? And then she comes at me with this, I'm lazy, but you're the same person who'll get off the train on your way home and walk past 5 stores and come upstairs and go, you go to the store and buy me a soda and a bag of chips. Didn't you just walk past the store?
She isn't some woman off the street, Mr. Poyer. So what if she uses sarcasm? She's your mother, isn't she? But you should at least be a little considerate of what the old woman requires. Just hear her out for once.
When I get home, it's 7 or 8 o'clock at nighttime. You can cook, you can clean. Okay, yes, I know my attitude is challenging, yes. I'll say that. But I had to do this by myself. I was mom and I was dad.
When you were living with her, were you contributing to the best of your ability?
I felt that I was.
According to the plaintiff, she's been the one who was providing for the family. And yet, Mr. Poyer had the audacity of wanting to do whatever he did, like living with her and not paying rent. But what you're about to hear next is just, oh man.
Watching television and you walk in the house. Now, you don't want to watch what I'm watching, so I have to stop everything I'm doing.
When your mother works all day and you've been at home watching TV, when your mother comes home, if she wants to see something on television in her house, the remote goes to her hand and she watches what she wants to watch. Ruling is in.
But what's even more tragic is the bad influence of his girlfriend. She has been also manipulating Mr. Poyer to pay rent for living with her, but not to his mother. Can someone please knock some sense into this man?
You are paying her mother a steady amount of money.
I have a steady job now, so I can afford to pay a steady amount of money.
No. Because you stated to this court when you worked for almost 3 months, which is 12 weeks, that you only paid, in your estimation, $300.
All of Mr. Poyer's childish behavior has kept a mother apart from her son. And we all know this is something that has to hurt the plaintiff. Just listen to what she has to say about this. Better grab a tissue box for this tragedy.
Miss Poyer, you look emotional.
I love my son. All I want is for my child just to grow up. But then it was time to come in here. Mom, I didn't get paid this, that, the other. But yet still, you going in there to find your little roll up and your little, to do your business.
That's right, Miss Poyer. Not just you. Every parent in the world wants their child to just grow up. How about you give him another chance? And maybe you can just reconcile with him. But his attitude wasn't changing. Just see what happens next.
I will offer you the option of dropping your suit against your son, or if you'd like to continue with it, I will rule on it.
I still want him to pay, but you know what? To push you out the nest, for you to find your wings. At the end of the day, I did my job.
As a matter of fact, there's a possibility he has a child by this that he cheated on me with before.
That's not true, Your Honor. She says that I've retracted the mommy syndrome.
Has anybody he's ever cheated on me with a and they've been anywhere from 10 to 20 years older than him. That's mommy syndrome.
You were kissing in the club?
I was.
Were you
weren't
kissing?
She was showing me how to kiss.
I'm a good teacher.
And she really showed me how to kiss.
So you were at school getting a lesson?
That is correct.
Mr. Rajette was suspicious of his wife's fidelity, claiming she had a fling while he was away. Now he's playing detective, demanding a paternity test, claiming that he has been nothing other than a messiah to his wife.
I'm here today to prove to my husband that our daughter Destiny is in fact his. It is tearing our family apart pieces by pieces because he denies her.
What does he do specifically?
He doesn't interact with her like he does with our other children.
I see this is really painful for you.
Yes.
Mrs. King Rajette steps up, tears flowing, desperate to prove that Destiny is Mr. Rajette's spawn. She spills the beans on his different treatment. Like Destiny's The Black Sheep, Mr. Rajette throws in a family tree playing Mendel with hair and eye colors. Trust me, it gets crazier.
Sir, Rajette, what you've done here, you've put together a whole family tree.
And everybody in her family and my family both have brown hair and brown eyes. It's right there.
I have sisters.
It's right
No,
there.
I have a sister and a cousin that has green eyes and sandy brown hair, so it's a possibility.
The aunts, the uncles, and the cousins.
Now it gets spicy. Mr. Rajette drops the bomb, accusing his wife of cheating with a childhood friend. But hold on, she fires back with accusations of her own. The courtroom turns into a battlefield of infidelity claims, and we're here for it.
One time we was at a bar, and she had actually sent a text to his phone while I was with him, saying that they had planned to meet up and go out later on that night. And he actually had showed me the phone and said to take a look at the phone. That was enough for me, you know. And another time on top of that, I seen the phone myself.
Oh boy, we're entering the he said, she said zone. Mrs. King Rajette accuses Mr. Rajette of flirting with her family members. And guess what? The drama peaks when Mr. Rajette admits to this. So here's something like a confession or so.
The thing is, I've been with the same woman since I was more than half my life, since I was 15 years old. You know, I started to get in the itch and wanted to go outside of our relationship.
Dirty, nasty, like I said.
After we had our first child, then she started gaining weight and I started losing my affection in our relationship.
Ms. King Rajette suspects infidelity due to an STD diagnosis, accusing her husband. He admits to past cheating while she introduces the concept of mommy syndrome, questioning their troubled marriage.
What I have to say to that is, you know, 16-year relationship, if the lie detector test comes back and the DNA results come back, then I'm through. When we get home, it's over. I'm
You
packing
don't
up
get
and
to
getting
pick
out.
when you're the baby boy. I say when you go
Mr.
like I have in the
I'm
past.
talking about you. I'm asking you about your cheating. Have you cheated on your wife?
In the past, I have.
Ms. King Rajette suspects her husband of cheating with her sister, recounting an incident involving a male cousin. She claims her sister's behavior supports this belief. Mr. Rajette denies infidelity but admits to past disrespectful behavior. They've separated previously due to his involvement with an older woman.
You would not betray her in that way.
We get back on the rough edges because I forgive his lame butt. Just last summer, we actually separated for a good 6 months. He was so disrespectful that the mommy syndrome, like I said, he was cheating on me with 40-some-odd-year-old woman, almost 50 years old, and he's only 20.
You're the one hanging out all night.
Ah, well, the tables might have turned on you, Mr. Rajette. So how about you now focus on the paternity question rather than with whom your wife has been cheating with? So, now here are the DNA results all of you have been waiting for.
When it comes to 2-year-old Destiny, Mr. Rajette, you are her father. What are you feeling right now?
I'm just mad because he's denied our child for so long. And I knew, because I'm not nasty. I've been faithful to this man since I met him.
Get ready for a really surprising situation. Miss Sanders discovered she put the wrong guy's name on her son Caleb's birth certificate. Now she's trying to fix the mistake and saying Mr. Brady is actually Caleb's dad. What does Mr. What Brady have to say about all this?
The first thing is the green eyes. No one in my family has green eyes. May I show you, Your Honor?
Yes.
Starting with my grandparents. My grandma don't have green eyes. My granddaddy don't got green eyes. My mama or my daddy. Her either, obviously. Me, I definitely don't have green eyes. I'm trying to figure out where these green eyes come from that's on this baby.
They begin arguing about Caleb's eye color. Mr. Brady insists nobody in his family has green eyes, making it impossible for the boy to be his son. What really bothers Mr. Brady, though, is that Miss Sanders never told him about the boy. Mystery, isn't it?
You're saying she didn't even inform you that she was pregnant.
She told me in the beginning.
Then when is this time you had to pop up at the house?
This was after the baby was born.
Okay, so why didn't you go to an appointment,
I
participate?
initially tried to go to the appointments, Your Honor.
He was playing me from the left because I didn't want to be with him no more. So he got mad because I got back with my ex.
It appears that Mr. Brady doesn't mind being the father. His real concern is that Ms. Sanders had several guys visiting her, and he's surprised to be the only one possibly connected to Caleb. The question is whether they were ever in a serious relationship or just fooling around.
He saying he don't want me, but he constantly texts my phone, somebody, so what's up?
I come to the house, dudes coming and going all the time. Like, I left her house.
How you gonna tell me that dude's coming and going, but you
I
not?
left her house and the dude came through, the same dude who she was texting.
How you
her
gonna
ex
get
came through while I was pulling off.
So you telling me that if you see somebody with your girlfriend, you ain't gonna get mad and try
You
to
wasn't
fight?
my girlfriend, you just, we was broken up.
Later on, Ms. Sanders opens up about her challenging pregnancy. The baby had a cyst in his brain, and doctors suspected Down syndrome. Mr. Brady claims he never supported her during this difficult period. And the reasons were clear, right?
He never even cared. I don't think he cared about was some shoes. When I first told him that I was pregnant, I called Mr. Brady and I told him, I said, I'm pregnant. I want to let you know. He just sat on the phone, didn't say anything. I'm saying, hello.
She let another man sign the birth certificate.
Yes, I did let another man sign the birth certificate, but when I first told him I was pregnant, when the doctor told me the times, and when I was with him.
What truly shocked Mr. Brady was when another man signed the birth certificate. This seems like clear evidence that Miss Sanders might be pulling him into a tricky situation to make him a part of some paternity issue. But when her ex signed the certificate, what went down?
So after me and him stopped talking, I got back with my ex. And my ex, he was real understanding. He was just saying, you know, we just gonna work through this. We gonna have this baby. We gonna do what we have to do. And he was the one who was actually there when I had my baby. So yes, he did sign the birth certificate, but we got DNA test found that he was not the father anyway.
She was gonna deliver.
All right, according to Miss Sanders, the man who's already on the birth certificate isn't the father. Well, we might have relief there. Or we are just walking ourselves into another moment gone wrong on paternity court. Only DNA results will tell us.
In the case of Sanders versus Brady, it has been determined by this court, you are not.
I told her that wasn't my baby, Your Honor.
Sit down.
I told her.
Sit down over there. Stand right where you're standing.
I knew it wasn't mine. 100% positive.
Can someone just save Miss Sanders from the embarrassment? You did this to yourself, and now there's no turning back. Let's just see if she was really speechless after the results, or she had to say something.
Miss Sanders, he said he was positive.
I really don't understand.
So it's not your ex's, it's not his.
It was no one else. It was no one else.
Had to be.
It was no one else.
It has to be somebody else.
It has to be one other person at least. Obviously, you have some thinking to do because there is at least one other man.
Miss Bracknell was stuck between two men, her ex-lover and her fiancé, both claiming to have fathered her 2-month-old daughter, Cara. Now, isn't she lucky? She got 2 men willing to pay that child support. Oh boy, let's just dig right into the case.
She had told me when we were breaking up, she said, thank you for the gift. And I said, what gift was that?
And it wasn't till later that you found out she was pregnant.
That is correct. You're right.
And then when you found that out, you thought to yourself, was that the gift?
The baby?
Yeah, you thought
My daughter, yes.
All right. Sounds kind of promising, isn't it? Mr. Butterfield claimed that the baby mama had hidden the pregnancy for about 8 months. And finally, when the baby was born, she claims he's not the father. How about a little explanation, Miss Bracknell?
Honestly, I didn't find out until 3 months after I did move out of his house. I was having irregular periods, so I just let it go for a minute. I'm not really a doctor person. I don't.
So you didn't go to the doctors for how long?
What you're saying is when this relationship ended, you didn't know you were pregnant.
No.
According to the baby mama, she wasn't even sure if she's pregnant or not. What? She then claims that Cara had all the features of her fiancé, Mr. Dallas, and he seems pretty convinced too. But according to Mr. Butterfield, Miss Bracknell was still having intimate moments with him after she had moved out from the house. Now, that's a nagging twist. Seems like someone was cheating, isn't it? But she denied it. How about a memory jog, everyone?
So you say Cara was conceived in mid-September, and she was born in June.
Yes, ma'am.
And she ended the relationship with Mr. Butterfield at the end of August. So you're saying if we count back, there's no way Mr. Butterfield is Cara's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
But wait, Miss Bracknell also had 3 other kids by Mr. Dallas. Talk about a lot was already at stake here, and the relationship might have a chance of going in the dark. How about we ask the fiancé about this?
I love her the same. You know what? With this, he's actually made our family stronger than trying to push us apart what he's been trying to
That's
do.
good. I'm not trying to get her back. I'm just trying to be in my daughter's life. Yeah, you named her. Yeah, from what I hear, you named her after what? Your grandma, and she got your last name? That'll change very soon.
No.
Oh, no, it won't.
Cara Christine Dallas is what it's gonna stick with.
No.
All right, since we have that part cleared out, but here's a quick reminder, Mr. Dallas, it's easier said than done. Well, now only time will tell. So, here are the DNA results that solve the equation in this paternity triangle.
It has been determined by this court. Kara's biological father is Mr. Butterfield.
What did I tell you?
Oh boy, now that's one awkward moment to face. What a cunning move, Miss Bracknell. You were trying to escape the truth just so you can save your relationship with Mr. Dallas. Talk about a reality check for everyone.
You ain't getting her.
Oh, what?
You're not getting her watch.
We'll take another one.
Truce out.
So you were correct, Mr. Butterfield.
I just want to see her.
You ain't.
How's it feel?
Feels good.
Yeah,
Yeah, be there.
I will.
Okay.
Now you gotta look at me all the time when I come.
I ain't gotta look at you ever.
Miss Wilson and Mr. Phillips went from friends with benefits to a couple, but they were always on shaky ground, living by the sword, dying by the sword. Despite a glimmer of hope, their lack of trust deepened. To make matters worse, paternity doubts entered the picture, turning their relationship into a real bed of roses.
We were separated at a point in time. During that point in time, she led me to believe that I was the only man that she was sexually involved. But she let me know she was doing the clubs and she was dating people, but she was not sexually involved with anybody. One of my friends was inside the club with her. She was making love in the club. She was tongue kissing, she was grappling, she was going, you know.
Mr. Phillips had caught his Miss Wilson making love in the club. Surprisingly, she admits to what the plaintiff had testified. Now, isn't that intriguing? How about we listen to what the baby mama has to say?
I was kissing my coworker, but not making love. There's a difference. I think I would have been arrested for that, I'm pretty sure. Making love in the club. I was foreplaying in the club, yes.
Something was going on in the club.
Yeah, it was something going on in the club, but it wasn't making love, it was kissing.
With the coworker in question?
Yes.
All right.
That she introduced me to as a friend.
Okay, so now we have the coworker from the club in the picture. Mr. Phillips also testified that the other dude was introduced to him as a friend, and everything between him and Miss Wilson was nothing other than platonic.
You believe her coworker is Hope's father?
My anchor is the fact that I was lied to from the beginning of the relationship. I was bamboozled. I thought I was messing with a business owner. She ended up being Compton. I was bamboozled from the beginning.
Well, Mr. Phillips was on a rant for claiming that he has been tricked, lied to, and was played deceit by Miss Wilson. So, how about we call in the infamous coworker who's also alleged to be the baby daddy?
You were with Ms. Wilson in the club, that you were kissing in the club?
I was.
Were you
weren't
kissing?
She was showing me how to kiss.
I'm a good teacher. I'm a good teacher.
And that.
And she really showed me how to kiss.
So you were at school getting a lesson?
That is correct.
I mean, like, what was happening here? Why isn't anyone denying that part? What did we miss here? Now, what Mr. Garcia admits next might raise an eyebrow back at Mr. Phillips. Come on, man, we were expecting that.
You aren't the father of her child when you admit to having this lesson and being very close, traveling together. Any man would think.
I'm gay, so I can't be the father.
Well, that would be a material fact.
I thought he was a regular friend of hers that was the gay friend. Now I believe he's a bisexual friend.
All right, maybe now we can connect the dots. Talk about a moment gone wrong in paternity court. Mr. Garcia happens to be gay. But wait, Mr. Phillips has his comeback ready for this? There's like no way he believes he fathered Miss Wilson's daughter.
You saying this information that he shared right now doesn't mean anything to you?
Because that's what I was under the influence of believing in the beginning before I was betrayed.
This is what they told you from the get-go.
And then your lip
So
locking
you think that's part of the lie? Mr. Garcia came all the way here and got up on this witness stand and looked at me and lied?
Yes.
But the big question ultimately remains, who's the baby daddy? Now, the DNA test results will only prove whether Mr. Phillips is the father, or Mr. Garcia isn't gay. So here's Judge Lake doing an attempt to solve this paternity triangle.
Mr. Phillips, you are her father.
It seems as if these results really meant a lot. What are you feeling?
Professional liars. Man.
And you know what? I'm not going to even, disrespect you because I'm a woman.
That's not disrespect. You committed a crime.
What do you mean? You proposed to me in that duplex. What are you talking about? You're on trial. I didn't ask you 3 days ago.
No.
That proposal meant nothing.
No.
You lying, baby.
No.
It's okay.
Mr. Connor, you are not the father.
I already knew it. She committed a crime. She set me up. I knew this all the time.
Well, gather around, folks. Mr. Connor, the genius of our story, firmly believes he's not the father of Miss Wallace's child. I mean, who can blame him? A one-night fling is like a guaranteed no baby card, right? Who needs those pesky facts and DNA tests when you've got your gut feeling?
I've even been to jail. 2005. November the 5th until January 2006.
Failure to pay
For
child
failure
support.
to pay child support. That is correct, Your Honor. It's making my character look real bad, Your Honor. And I know for a fact that she know he's not my son.
So picture this, Mr. Connor's life is a thrilling roller coaster with pit stops in jail because, paying child support is optional. I mean, who needs financial responsibility in supporting your offspring? Jail time is like an all-inclusive vacation package with free meals and a cozy cot.
He just wants off child support. For one, it was more than just a one-night fling.
You know Jeffrey isn't my child, and I have you on Facebook.
You can quit pointing your fingers because I'm an adult.
No, you're not. What kind
I'm
of adult
42 years
subject
old.
their child
I'm
to
42
something like
years
that all
old,
the
Your
time?
Honor. I raised my 3 kids by myself.
Now, let me paint you a beautiful picture. Mr. Connor and Miss Wallace's meet cute was just like a fairy tale. They met through a family member, Cupid, obviously, and had a magical one-night stand. It's like a modern-day romance novel. Two strangers in the night, never to meet again.
We came together one time, and up on penetration, she changed her mind, and that was that. I never knew anything about Jeffrey. She had a friend who told me, oh, did you sleep with Wanda? Told her what happened. There was penetration. I told her the story. And then she said, well, I just wanted to tell you. She was pregnant already.
Hold on to your seats, folks. The story gets even better. That one-night encounter, it was like a whirlwind of emotions. Miss Wallace changed her mind mid-action. I mean, who hasn't experienced a sudden change of heart during an intimate moment, right? It's practically a love story for the ages. Shakespearean in its complexity.
I've been in a whole year relationship and we had sex numerals of times, Your Honor. And he did know I got sick. My mom taking me to my doctor's appointment, and that's when I found out I was 2 months pregnant. I called you and I told you. Back then we had you a lie.
You never told
Back
me.
then we had pagers. Shut
Miss Wallace's pregnancy announcement? It was a blockbuster moment. She let Mr. Connor in on the news over the phone, but he never really heard about it. I guess pregnancy announcements via telepathy are the latest trend. Who needs clear communication when you've got mind-reading skills?
Do you remember being told she was pregnant?
Only by the friend, and I blew that off because a penetration act, she intentionally done it. That's a crime, what she did. She knew.
And why would she intentionally trap you?
At the time, I was doing pretty good. So I had a little BMW, we were young. All of a sudden, here come the child support.
Mr. Connor's paternity doubts are fueled by the most reliable sources in the world, family members and social media comments. I mean, who needs DNA tests when you can base your entire life's decisions on family rumors and cryptic Facebook posts?
He told me that he wanted to be in his son's life. I told him I did not want to be in a relationship with him.
You're a professional liar.
You know what? I'm not going to even, disrespect you because I'm a woman.
That's not disrespect. You committed a crime.
Like I said, Your Honor, this man, he wanted to be with me and I did not want to be with him.
We have now heard enough sides of both stories, and we now know either one of them was lying about the whole facts. But this is why we have paternity police, to cater to all the unwanted doubts. So, Mr. Connor, let's find out whether you served a well-deserved jail time or not.
Mr. Connor, you are not the father.
I already knew it. She committed a crime. She set me up. I knew this all the time.
I understand you are frustrated, and I understand you have been through a lot. I want to turn my attention to Jeffrey. So, Jeffrey, are you all right, honey?
Not really. Yeah, not really.
Another classic tale of babies having babies. Miss Whitaker was adamant that Mr. Schroll was her baby daddy. The only villain in this story was, though, the mother of the defendant. Yep, they weren't fans of each other.
Why do you blame Mr. Schroll's mother for his denial?
Because he's a mama's boy. She has never done anything but come in between our relationship. Even when we were having fights in our relationship, she was always in the middle of it. It was never just me and him, it was me, him, and his mother.
Are you a mama's boy, Mr. Schroll?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
I know that's right. Say it loud and proud.
Picture this, a high school romance that sounds more like a daytime soap opera. Baby mama and daddy relationship dynamics were so convoluted that you can't help but raise an eyebrow and wonder just how these two managed to live together during their high school years.
We fell in love from the beginning. We were never separated. We probably spent 3 days apart in the entire almost 3 years we were together. From the time we started dating, our parents let us spend the night together. We were either staying at my house.
Wait. They what?
Yes. They let us stay the
When
night
you
together.
started dating, your parents let you spend the night together.
Yes.
So, these guys had a few happening teenage years. And with a dash of drama and deceit, they were off the charts then. Baby mama, though, revealed some interesting, albeit little questionable tactics of the defendant's mother. Wow!
He was always in the middle of our relationship. She even made the comment one time that I can't wait till you're 18 because I'm gonna beat your ass. And then when she found out I was pregnant, she said, I guess I can't do it anymore now.
Did you know your mother didn't care for Miss Whitaker?
I don't know where that she didn't care for comes from. Anytime Miss Whitaker needed to talk to her, she'd come to my mom.
So, after going through a tragic loss, Miss Whitaker had another surprise. Ding, ding, ding! The pregnancy. Now, she managed to convey the happy news to the baby daddy. But the mother dearest wasn't too happy with the news. No surprise there. Saw it coming a mile away.
I was told that I couldn't get pregnant and I thought I was never gonna have a family. I was so happy because now I had a family. When he told his mother, I could hear her screaming in the background. She was screaming to the top of her lungs and she took that moment from me. I was so happy I finally had a family even though I just lost mine.
Finally, the infamous mother stepped up. And man, she had some naughty tidbits to share about the baby mama. It was clear as day she wasn't a fan, and yet she let two teenagers create all this mess. So not cool, woman. And don't forget to take a look at the colorful calendar. Man!
Did you think the baby was your grandchild?
Not until she admitted to me 7 times that she cheated.
It wasn't something I was proud of, and he's not even a possible factor for the father. I have my conception date right here. I slept with Christian every single night, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
Next up, the birth certificate becomes a focal point, revealing the despair and anguish surrounding it. And there was a lot, because guess what? Mommy had another boyfriend. Yep.
On the day Brinley's born, he does show up to the hospital.
Only because his mother
I don't care how he got there. I don't care if he was following the sun and the moon and the stars. He got there. Why put another man's name on your child's birth certificate if the man that you are so certain is the father is there?
Well, baby mama has been busy. She was so sure the defendant was her guy, and yet he wasn't on the birth certificate. What's up with that, woman? Oh, she was leaving no stone unturned and complicating the mess.
Christian had posted stuff all over Facebook about my family, saying baby mama drama already. I told him I don't want you to come back.
I wouldn't have even got to hold the baby if it wasn't for the doctors. I don't know the name
My
of the room.
aunt let you in because she's the DO.
The nurse. The nurse.
My aunt is a nurse.
So you got to hold Brinley that day. Did you feel like this is my child?
No, not at all.
The tension in the courtroom was palpable as the truth remained concealed. But no more, because the judge was ready to roll out the results. The who's the father mystery was about to come to an end. Finally!
You are her father.
I am.
Thank you. Oh, God. Thank you.
Then I apologize. I apologize for everything. I really do. I'm sorry I put you through this.
I'm just so happy after 2 years you finally know you can finally start being there.
We've got Mr. Wilson here, who has been accusing Miss Dean of turning his home into a love nest. The plot thickens as we delve into the saga of baby Jekiah, a 17-month-old cutie caught in the crossfire of a relationship gone sour.
Mr. Wilson, you've opened your case today to prove that Miss Dean's 17-month-old daughter, Jekiah, is not your biological child. You say you moved her into your home, laid out the red carpet, only to find out she was rolling around with other men in your home. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So here's the lowdown on their love story. Plaintiff claimed he'd rolled out the red carpet only to be met with disappointment. Oh, the drama. Accusations from planning the baby to concessions were the order of the day here.
Mr. Wilson, you saying you've been fooled once, you've been fooled twice, but you're not gonna be fooled again.
Correct, Your Honor.
Miss Dean, you say this is unnecessary.
It really is. He's being not only belligerent and lying, him and his family. Not only did we plan this baby, we had concessions. I had my period.
Well, these guys were just throwing shades at each other, one way or another. Facebook shenanigans and whispered conversations gave birth to not only the baby, but this whole mess as well.
We actually planned the baby. The baby was just not a coincidence. I asked
So now
her,
you
could she
denied
have
her,
a
though,
baby for me?
That you planned.
Because she knew what I've been through in the past with not having kids and how desperately I wanted to have a kid. And she had me under the impression that she was willing to go through with it with me.
And I did.
And
you don't see the baby?
Then I see the baby, but I don't see me in the baby. I see the ex in the baby.
Well, the supposed concessions and Facebook likes turned into a baby-making scheme, but oh, the horror! Mr. Wilson starts doubting when inconsistencies arise, and Miss Dean's storytelling takes a detour. Concessions turn into whispers, echoes, and late-night visits. The confusion was real as he dug into the details, trying to unravel the mystery of Jekiah's conception.
In the mix of us being in a relationship, she's getting bigger. She's whispering, I hear echoes. She's always in a different room of the apartment. And I'm like, why you never around the kids? Why? She's like, I can't talk now because my ex is here. And why is he there 11 o'clock at night if the kids got school in the morning?
He is lying. He came
visited
over to
30
visit.
days?
He lied. It wasn't no 30 days. How was it 30 days when we was having concessions all that time?
As the relationship grew, so did the suspicions. Mommy wasted no breath in calling the baby daddy a liar. Oh, somebody was twisting things in this love story. For sure, the plot thickens and the truth remains elusive.
I asked Gennaro to move in with me.
I
when
wouldn't
we
have moved
found out
with
we
her
moved.
when I had a bigger home.
What do you
I
mean?
had a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. She was in a 2-bedroom apartment and 1 bathroom in a 4 duplex that was not.
What do you mean? You proposed to me in that duplex. What are you talking about? You're on trial. I didn't ask you 3 days ago.
No.
That proposal meant nothing.
No.
You lying, baby.
No.
It's okay.
Fasten your seatbelts, we are about to dive into the birth certificate saga, along with the ex's drama. Mr. Wilson went ahead and talked to the infamous ex, and lo and behold, the story took a different turn. But he still signed on the dotted line embracing fatherhood. What was up with that now?
Why'd you sign the birth certificate?
I'm gonna tell you why. When the baby was born, it was so light and bright. I was like, he's so dark, she's dark. It's no way he's the father. I still didn't have doubts until she called me on FaceTime with him on the phone, and they both confirmed that I wasn't.
And said what?
She said, bring me back my baby. It's not your baby, it's his baby. Ah!
Moving on, the mama goes into quite a long rant regarding all the disappointments she faced. Baby daddy wasn't stepping up to the plate, and when he did, well, things took a different turn.
He had the baby trying to take the baby so he can be with someone else. He used me, baby.
She watched me in the lifetime,
No,
Your Honor.
he used me, Your Honor. After I had that baby, Your Honor, he proposed to me, told me that we were gonna get married, moved in together. He lied, took the baby, tried to move away. Well, he had the baby in his care. He never took her because I gave her to him.
Mr. Wilson's sister stepped up next time, and boy, she had a lot to say. And this drama has been going on for quite some time now. She was not happy that Mama was back in their life again, so she showed her distaste along with the families.
When she was pregnant with this baby, I asked my brother, why are you dealing with her again? She did this to you 9 years ago. Why are you getting yourself in a situation? We had just lost our father, so he grieved into this baby. It was a grievance and it was attachment instantly. I think that she's attaching to him financially. It's not for looking for the father or the child. It's about what the baby can get from this man.
Oh, the tension was building as the court got ready to unveil the truth about Jekiah's paternity. Wilson's desire for closure and Dean's anticipation collided as the revelation was about to unfold. Let's see whether the daddy gets to hear those 4 words or not.
Mr. Wilson, you are not the father. Miss Faithful style.
I apologize for taking you through this, but I am gonna find out who her father is, and I am gonna.
You gotta find out?
No, when I say find
You gotta
out,
find
I'm
out?
gonna bring him on this courtroom like I did you at.
Oh, good luck.